Hello and welcome to Edukemy's YouTube channel and editorial discussion for 16th April 2022. My name is Harsh Singh and in this video we shall discuss an editorial from the Live Mint which is titled Let's Update Our Rescue Systems to the Digital Age. This editorial speaks about the human-made disaster of the cable cars that happened while the rescue operation was happening in Trikut at Devghar and also some strategies which could be used to mitigate such disasters. If you like this initiative, share some love through likes, comments, and shares. Let's discuss. Before we understand the disaster, let us understand the landscape. This place in Devghar, this is the place atop of the mountain where the shrine is located, and people prefer to travel to this place with the help of cable cars. In fact, the length of this cable car is 750 meters, and this is one of the highest vertical ropeways in the country, located at north of Jharkhand. Now, during the time when this operation was being carried out, there were total 56 lives saved from 25 of these cable cars. In one cable car, 4 people can be seated, and 3 lives were lost. There were a couple of helicopters used, Mi-17 Advanced Light Helicopter by Air Force, ITBP, National Disaster Response Force, and this was a 45 long hour operation and search and rescue operation was carried out successfully. Now, at the onset, it might seem that this was a fairly good rescue operation. However, if you look into the details, you'd understand that 2 out of these 3 lives which are lost were lost during the times of disaster and rescue operation. How is this possible? And this is where we discuss the intricacies of this disaster. Have a look. The disaster first of all happened while the cable cars got stuck with each other. This was already flagged that there are some issues in this cable car connection here, and this was overlooked, and this resulted in the death of one individual. But what ensued for the next couple of days, that was something that could have been handled far better. That is what is called as disaster management. So let's understand. One of the heroes in this disaster management was the SAR, search and rescue winch. This is the winch through which the people were pulled up into the helicopter and later on put down on the ground as well. Let's discuss the intricacies. Now, after the disaster struck, the people here who were suddenly taken aback by the collision of 2 of these cable cars, people got struck here on 10th of April. But imagine the search and rescue operation beginning on 11th. People were there without food and water for complete day. And when the operation started on 11th, it continued on 12th as well. What was the reason for this? Weather conditions were not good at times. The operation was not carried out at night time. In fact, water and food availability shortages were there, and people started to preserve even their urine for emergency times. In fact, drones were later used for food supplies. But then I told you that these mountains are located at hilltop, and therefore drones could not even reach certain heights. So it seems that we were fairly not prepared for a disaster handling like this, disaster management handling like this, because drones could not reach at those places, water and food was not available to people. The disaster management and response started a day later at the request of Jharkhand government. So what are the intricacies? Let us understand. Helicopters were used to lift people in the air from these cable cars and later on put them down as and when required, right, safely. But then there were quite a few mishaps which happened. Let us understand what are the mishaps were. One of the mishaps was when a person was being airlifted to the helicopter, and that's when they suddenly clamp onto the edges of the helicopter and fall off just to die. One of another incidents was such where a lady, she was hung with the help of this cable tied, and suddenly she falls off. How did this happen during the times of disaster handling? Let us understand the intricacies here. See, this was a rescue in which single lift rescue strap was used. Single lift means only one person is getting lifted up. In case of double lift, another person, rescuer, also goes along, and then they hold the other person, and they, along with themselves, they bring both the people back up. So this was a single lift rescue. Along with this, the rescue strop used. This is the rescue strop we are talking of. This is a primitive kind of rescue strop, and you can very well see the strop right here. What happens is the person has to tie this strop below their arms on their chest, and they have to tie this knot and then hold their hands wide not vertically wide. And what mistake conducted by this man was that while at the edge in getting inside the helicopter, in rush he put his arms up, and this is how the strop it came out of his arms and chest, and that's how he stood at the edge and later fell off to his death. What does this indicate? This indicates that this exercise was not carried out properly. In fact, we did not have such trainings for people at all. One of the ways in which such disasters can be prevented is by using lean out deck harnesses. When one uses these kind of harnesses, the person remains intact. They do not move apart during the quick movement of the aircraft wings. So all these strategies were not used. We were using primitive rescue strops. Moving ahead, if you look into these furthers, the aircraft, the advanced light helicopters and the Me-17 helicopter, they did not have search and rescue step. If you see, there are steps here. There are places, consoles from where people can be taken inside. The person did not have this facility. So when these facilities are not there, then we at least can train people in a way in which they put their arms wide when they are strapping the rescue facilities with them. That was not done. Another reality is that the Air Force crew is not as well trained as the naval air crew staff. The divers in the Navy, they are the best trained for search and rescue in the seas. But when this is not trained in India, in the inland areas, this is where the inexperience of these people also is a stakeholder, right? This was a vertical lift, a tough operation. It was not a double lift. It was only a single person being lifted up, unlike this double lift. That is absolutely true. But then there were some mishandlings, there were some equipments or devices which could have been used and they were not used. We do agree to that as well, right? Now, the state of disaster, for example, these kind of disasters happening and these mistakes happening, but what do we have? We have paid this with the lives lost. They can never be recovered back. People are in a state of shock, and people are disoriented and panicky whenever they are being airlifted, and the rescuers have to be prepared for every situation, every mistake that could possibly occur. But these were the mistakes that could have been avoided by the rescuers, and this did not happen. Why? Because we did not have these kind of operations conducted. We did not have trials and training conducted at the requisite time. We jumped in during emergencies, and now the government has ordered safety audit of the places, and government has ordered standard operating procedures for search and rescue operation. When these facilities were being instituted, Gulmarg has these facilities, gondola rides, and then Devghar has it, Rajgir has it. I have myself gone on gondola rides in Gulmarg and Rajgir. There must be some search and rescue operation standard operating procedure. I was just scrolling through internet and I found that all these procedures do exist. What is a single lift? What is a double lift? At times basket lift is done when people have to be made safe, or even a stretcher lift in case a person is injured. Not only that, people can hoist a thumbs up when they have to be hoisted up and thumbs down when not have to be hoisted. But these trainings have to be made available, or at least pictures have to be displayed wherever these airlifts are getting carried on, right? Wherever these gondola rides or cable cars are available, nothing is available of such sort in our country. That's a major loophole. In fact, the editorial says that sanitation workers, you'd all be able to relate to it because we keep on hearing about this in the news all the time. Sanitation workers die when they get inside these toxic cavities. Not only that, this is an actual image of a lady. She was speaking on phone and she had a child, and accidentally she gets inside this manhole just because it was not covered. Whose fault is it? Yes, she was at mistake. But why are not all the manholes covered? We are not prepared for disasters like this. In fact, road disasters in India, another huge one. World Bank itself says that India goes through 53 road accidents per hour, and 4 minutes, and there is one death in India in road accidents. And in fact, time is the factor which can save lives, and the deaths can reduce to as much as 43%. 100 deaths which are happening, they could get reduced to 43%, because if we act on time, if we respond on time, we can save lives, right? People panicked because in this Triku disaster, people panicked, especially because the rescue happened on the second or the third day, and that's the reason that resulted into two more deaths, right? See, when we have food delivery happening within 30 minutes, when we have grocery delivery happening within 10 minutes, why not saving life in a short span of time? This is happening in Nepal. This is happening at many places around the world where blizzards and mountain climbers go up. And then, if there are blizzards or difficult weather circumstances, then helicopters come for their rescue. Why cannot we have this system in place for saving precious human lives? We can have this. What is required is to utilize the telecom services. Telecom services are available everywhere. Utilize them. Have data guided squads, people who are trained already and ready, dispatched to help, even in case of fire incidences, even in case of blizzard incidences, in case of human disasters like the ropeway disaster. All of them, and people should be ready. And not only these, what about airlifting of humans in road accidents? All of them is required, mandated. And if even if we want to save somebody's life, we need to transport organs urgently from one place to another. We need to have these kind of facilities. How many of you are aware that there is a standard number 112 in India, just like 911 is there in USA? This number is a standard number through which we can call for any rescue, whether it be police, ambulance, emergencies, or fire. See, this is the kind of awareness that is required in our country, right? Disaster handling, disaster management is a very important strategy that can be used to save lives, prosper economy in the country, and build capable human resources in the country. This is where a small question for you people: mention 5 human created disasters and 5 innovations to prevent such disaster. Type in your responses, and if you have some questions and doubts, please get back by writing on the comment section in this video. If you like this initiative, share some love through likes, comments, and shares. Thank you for watching.